Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live, and it's a full house tonight. I'm joined by Simon Lester. How you doing, Simon?
Kieron, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, good mate. Again, busy day trying to find out what Arsenal are doing in the transfer market, and for once they're doing what we want. So yeah, it's been rather pleasing.
Right. We'll get to that in a bit. And how you doing, Jerome? Good to have you back.
Yeah, fine. Thanks, guys. Hello, everyone.
All right. So we've got plenty to discuss. First of all, it's going to be the painful part. Nottingham Forest. We haven't spoken about it. Well, me and Steve did the other day, but we've got to come back to it because there's a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight. Maybe not directly involving that, but it's made people think. It's had a lot of food for thought since we've seen that game. We're going to start with you, Simon. You saw Arsenal's lack of depth in the squad. Mikel Arteta sending out Ainsley Maitland-Niles on loan to Roma, knowing full well that Granit Xhaka was out. Did that show how far away the youngsters were from first team football and how much we need to actually strengthen in this transfer market?
Yeah, so we've gone from one end of the scale to the other in a week, haven't we? We've gone from the City game whereby we were purring to Sunday, literally a week later, whereby, to watch an Arsenal game where you don't have a shot on target takes some doing. So I don't think it's all bad because we lost players. There's a few things that Forest aren't as bad as what if we would have been playing Rochdale or something like that. They're knocking on the door of the playoffs. But we lost players to the African nations. We lost players to COVID. We've got a few injuries, and the team he played, especially in the midfield, really, really was poor. But I'd say defence and midfield. So he played what he had available to him. Now, I sincerely hope that that's going to improve on Thursday night at Anfield. Because otherwise, it won't be worth playing the second leg. But yeah, it to me, you get people before kick-off. I was looking on social media, people saying, "Oh, it'll be 3-0, it'll be 4-0. Patino's going to score." And in that particular game, he just did not have any support around him, so he looked like a fish out of water. And it's this, we sent Balogun away on loan. You'd have to say that the next step would be to send Patino away on loan to gain some valuable experience, like Smith Rowe did a couple of seasons ago, in a far more competitive environment where you can't just throw him into games. So the bigger picture is we haven't got, once you scratch below the surface of that first 11 or first 13, 14 maybe, but we haven't got the strength in depth that many, many other clubs have got and can manage. So that's worrying, and it's certainly worrying for the next two games, I would say, which are big games for us as far as the season's concerned. We say we got three massive games in the space of the next 9 days.
Yeah,
and that may well define where we end up at the end of the season. So obviously the window's open. Nothing's going to happen before Thursday, and highly unlikely that we're not going to get anyone in before Saturday. But if we play that team. And that team plays like they did on Sunday, on Thursday night, I fear for us.
Yeah, definitely. Jerome, we saw Ainsley Maitland-Niles go on loan to Roma. Would it have been smarter of us to keep him there and not throw Charlie Patino into the deep end?
Yeah, in an ideal world, absolutely. But I don't know, maybe Arteta has made promises to him in the past in terms of being able to go to another club, and maybe he felt that Maitland-Niles felt that if he didn't go now, it wouldn't happen. You don't know what's gone on there, but yeah, ideally you don't want to be left with Patino and Lokonga as your only central midfield options. I wouldn't say it's partly our fault, the fans, but we got very excited about Patino, didn't we? Very early on, and look, he's a young player, and I think a bit similar to Balogun when he played in the first team this season. They're just not ready. It's just as simple as that. It's no no negativity towards them. They're just simply not ready. And throwing him into a game like that away from home against the Championship side who are doing well, like Simon said. Next to Lukonga, who hasn't played for ages, probably wasn't the best idea. And having Maitland-Niles would have been much better. I don't know how much difference it would have made. Obviously, it would have been an improvement, but it's just the timing's just been terrible, especially with these two games coming up. Or you can call it the three games, the two Liverpool games and the Spurs game. It's very, very bad timing, and I don't know what he's going to do on Thursday night. Well, hopefully Jack will be back, but strength in depth is a big issue, and it's not only the strength in depth; it's the difference in quality between those 13 players, and then the rest is massive. But unfortunately we're not spoiled for choice, so it's got to try and ride it out this period.
Yeah, they certainly do. Steve, game against Liverpool coming up on Thursday, followed by a game against Tottenham on the Sunday, and then a second leg against Liverpool the following Thursday. So in 7 days, it's got 3 games. Is there a worry that they're not going to have enough in the squad, especially in midfield, to compete in those games?
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to be back as far as COVID goes with Xhaka and Smith Rowe. Obviously, the others, we have got a couple of injuries. We've also got, 2 or 3 players at AFCON. I'm not as worried as about the strength of the squad as probably what some are. There was 7 players out that played from the City game against Nottingham Forest, and we're living in an unusual time with COVID. We're also in the middle of, unlucky enough, if you could say, that AFCON's on. And when you add injuries, AFCON and COVID all together, I would say, if you put all those players back into the squad, you're over. You've got too many players if all those are in. We all know who our first 11 are. I rate the players that, Dan, if people were fit and back from, or didn't have COVID, or wasn't at AFCON, and you got Smith Rowe, you got Aubameyang, you got Pepe, you got Cedric, you got Tavares, you got Holding, you got Lukonga, you got El Nene. That's your bench, as well as Leno. Now, we all know we need players. We know we need players, but for me, it's the players that we knew anyway. We know we needed a forward, and we knew we wanted a midfield player. We knew that. We knew that before the Nottingham Forest game. So, for me, I think we've got to ride it out. We know that we need a couple of players, but as I said, that hasn't changed since the Man City game. And it's worrying because of players might be out through COVID, and it's also worried that we've got players out through AFCON. But on any other normal occasion, in a few weeks, all those players will be back. So then you've got quite a strong squad, apart from the fact that you still need the couple that we knew anyway, the forward and the midfield player. But we knew that.
What about
we
for
do
these
that?
Next 3? Wait. What about for these next 3 games though? We're talking about the semi-final of the cup, and we're talking about a team that is directly behind us that could pip us in that 5th spot.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the season, but is there any way? Would you think we can get through that?
Well, I think Xhaka will be back. I don't know about Emil Smith-Rowe. I know apparently Gabriel's will be fit. He's only got a 1 match ban.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Xhaka and Gabriel back, with the other players brought back in, With Tierney, Tomiyasu, with Laka up front. That team should beat Spurs. And also, you still got to try and find a way how to get Smith Rowe in this team. So it is going to be hard. It is going to be difficult, but it's going to be difficult and hard anyway against them two teams. Whatever side, if you had their first 11 out, and and anyway, it's going to be difficult.
I'll take the point at Spurs now.
We should beat them.
I'd take the point. If you take a point at Spurs, then we've taken 4 points off them this season. So we're only in the plus with them. But the important thing is not to lose at Spurs. Massively is not to lose. We cannot lose any ground to Tottenham at the weekend.
But I just don't think the worry, if we get, are we going over the top for the fact that we're sort of all of a sudden we've lost this game against Forest, and now is it that the fact that we're going to struggle against the games coming up, which are big games, or are we saying, oh my God, we've got to get? We thought we needed 2 players, now we need 5. I don't agree with that.
No, I've not seen too much of that. I've seen definitely a worry with regards to if you're looking at the team that was put out against Nottingham Forest. If he had an option for a stronger team, I think he would have taken that stronger team. I don't think that would have been the team that he would have put out. So that says a lot about the depth that we've got coming up against Liverpool for 2 games and Tottenham.
Yeah,
so
those games are
2 big games. Like we talk about semi-final of a cup, and our direct rivals and our biggest North London. It's a big North London derby. So it's one of them. I think it's more about that, and it's the opposition as well. Yes, Liverpool are likely to put out a weakened side, but it's Liverpool, and then it's Tottenham. And I think that's what it boils down to. I think it's more about that. People want to make sure they can get through these games. And as Simon says, we cannot lose. We cannot lose.
The joke is, if you get through these next 3 games, then we've got Burnley. Then we have a week off. Then I think it's, I don't know who we've got after that, but we'll have everybody back by then. So it really is. This is why it's a huge little stint. These next 10 days are going to be massive.
Yeah, it's Burnley, then it's Wolves away, then it's Brentford at home, Watford away, Leicester, Aston Villa, and then you start getting on that run where you can see these are the points, and it starts to pick up, and then we're coming towards the end of the season. It would come around pretty quick. Go on, Steve. Do you want to say something?
No, I just to say that the COVID thing hasn't helped us, is it? With the players that was out through COVID. Because who was it? Emil Smith Rowe and Xhaka that was out. I know it's only 2 players, but they play against Forest, we win.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody. I'm just convinced. I know it's only 2 players, but it can be only 1 player sometimes, can't it? In your side who's out, and it can make a difference. But I just don't want Arsenal fans to get, somebody get too carried away, don't they? Oh, we're in trouble. We need 6 players. We need 5. It's not like that. It's going to be hard. What's coming up? Tottenham's like don't matter where you are in the league, does it? It's going to be a tough game. It's a derby, and Liverpool. I think it all depends what team they put out, doesn't it? I mean, will they put their kids out against us? What team will Arteta play?
Strong team.
I think now we're out the FA Cup. He knows now exactly how many games he's going to have left for the rest of the season. So it's either 22 or 23 games left for the rest of the season. So one plus is when the European football starts up again, we're literally going to be playing 1 game a week, aren't we? So if you catch a team that's been away to somewhere in Europe on a Wednesday night and we're playing them on a Saturday, it might help us. It might. There might be an injury. There might be some tiredness there. So, I'm clutching at straws now, but I'm hoping we're still going to be full for knocking on the door of full.
Yeah, maybe we should postpone it like Liverpool did. I mean, we've got more players out than they have.
We'll get on to that now. Simon, I know you was very vocal about the Liverpool postponement. What was your thoughts once it came out that there was false positives? Don't worry, I'm going to get everyone's opinion on it. What was your thoughts when you came out they said false positives? Out of all those tests, only 1 came back an actual positive. What's your thoughts?
my thoughts are that it merely confirmed what I thought the day that it got cancelled, that it was just a smokescreen, basically. They didn't want to play the game on that particular day. People have put up statistics about the odds on getting 10 false positives was greater than winning the Euro Millions and stuff like that. Now, I saw a picture, whether or not this has been doctored or not, about the programme tomorrow night, and it's got first leg on there now in LOL afterwards. So
they're trolling us.
The real joke of this is, and this is the serious matter, and I'm included in this. So that decision from the EFL, because all right, Liverpool have asked for it, but ultimately the EFL blamed it. That's had a knock-on effect on fans who are now out of pocket. So imagine if you're a Burnley fan that were going to the game on the 22nd. That's now been postponed to the 23rd. All those Burnley fans have lost money on train tickets because they've got to change. Yeah, so I thought that was poor. Not one FA Cup game got cancelled at the weekend through COVID. Not one. Yeah. But Liverpool, all of a sudden, it's like, well, we haven't got enough players here. We're going to be. But funny enough, they had enough players to play 3 days later, and now it will come out about this training ground thing. So for me, and then the story gets better when you find out that the chief executive of the EFL is Rick Parry, isn't it? So
Rick Parry, we all know Rick Parry and his mullet. We all know Rick Parry.
For me, it stinks. It stinks. Really poor. I thought really poor.
Yeah. Jerome, it's almost as if it's not real. It's almost as if it can't be. Like when I heard that there was that many false positives, I was like, nah, this can't be real. This has to be a joke, because this feels like there's something going on there. You don't want to say that, but it does feel like there's something going on there, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit fishy, shall we say? I think we were supposed to play on the Thursday, and I don't know, maybe on the day after they opened up the training ground again.
Yeah.
I mean, they've brought a lot of things into football, like your VAR, goal line technology, to uncover the truth and to be fair. Yet something that's as blatantly obvious as this will just get swept under the carpet. We won't hear about it ever again. And I think there was reports about an investigation being launched. Well, that's not going to happen. It's just we this season, especially as Arsenal fans, we're feeling very hard done by with a lot of different things that are happening, whether that be officials, decisions, and this is just another one to add to the list, really. But we just got to get on with it. There's nothing we can do. Just got to try and beat them now.
Steve, what was your thoughts on it? Dodgy, not dodgy.
Dodgy. I mean, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know what false positive means. All I know is it was dodgy, and that's all I need to know. At the end of the day, it's they opened the training ground, and I mean, Simon said that they played 3 days later. Well, they opened the training ground the next day. So how does that work out? And another thing, Jurgen Klopp is not the manager for the League Cup games. It's the other guy.
It's the youth player, isn't it?
Yeah,
youth coach.
So they went. He went down with COVID the same day as the game when they was trying to get it postponed. Now they're either a little bit stupid, or they're taking the piss.
Do you think it's a semi-final that they've gone and done this? That they've cancelled it because it was semi-final. And Liverpool maybe going to lose a couple of players, because if this was like the third round, fourth round, would they have bothered? Would they have bothered postponing it?
No. We could have done it against Nottingham Forest if we wanted to. We had COVID, we had injuries, we had people at AFCON. They were adding people that was injured onto this COVID list. When they sent their when they tried to get put their thing in to get it postponed, they was adding people that were injured. Well, we've got this person injury, and now the coach has gone down injured. Suspiciously the same day. I just don't think they didn't fancy it. I just thought that they've seen Arsenal play Man City the few days before, and I think they thought, well, we've got a few players missing. This throw a few other players in with COVID that actually ain't got it. I mean, look, we all want people to be safe, and look, this ain't a laughing matter if people are ill and have got COVID. But this one was just too dodgy, you know, for the fact that they was opening the training ground the next day, and the guy who's the manager all of a sudden, you know, just come down with COVID on the day of the game. I mean, come on, Klopp's out, and then the manager's out. I mean,
let's not forget as well that they're charging us 3 times as much for tickets.
Yeah, what is that?
Well, my ticket's 28 quid, 28 quid, but Arsenal are charging a tenner. Now, who are the most vociferous club when it comes to complaining about ticket prices?
Tight as arseholes, don't they?
That has left a really, really bad taste in my mouth as well. Any time I hear a Liverpool fan going on about ticket prices now, it's like, well, you need to get your own house in order first.
In a cup game, in an EFL Cup game as well, they're the tickets you give away for cheap, so the people who don't usually get a ticket can have a chance of going to a game and seeing their team play. That's the whole point.
I mean, we did it for Sunderland, didn't we? We did it for Sunderland.
And look at the atmosphere you get, though. Look at the atmosphere you get. Like, people can spend more here. They can spend more, grab a beer, grab a drink, grab a pie. Like, that's the whole point. The money's still going to be spent at the ground, and probably more. Like, it's just business sense. Simon, do you think anything will come of it?
No, I think it's finished now. I think I emailed the ESL. I've not even had a reply. Emailed them about people being out of pocket. They've not even replied to me. I've sent them countless messages on Twitter. I've got nothing back. So to me, I'm sure I saw something this afternoon. Case is closed. So to me, it really did stink. And I think we have to move on now. So it's done. What's done's done. The game is more important now on Thursday night. You could argue that maybe playing the first leg away is more beneficial to us. But I think last Thursday would have been prime time to have played them. But there you go.
We had that momentum.
But it's done. I don't think anything will happen.
Yeah. How big is this game for Arsenal now, though, Jerome?
God. How big is it? Well,
after the exit the other day to Nottingham Forest,
I think it's big. I don't think it's as big as the Spurs game. No. I think if you ask most Arsenal fans, would you take beating Spurs but you get knocked out of this cup? I think probably, maybe after thinking about it a bit, most will probably take that. But
same prize, isn't it?
Yeah. So in answer to your question, it's big, but maybe in the grand scheme of things, not as big as maybe it could have been, perhaps. And the fact that we're going into it with a bit of a depleted squad doesn't help either. That's all people can really think about at the moment is the starting 11 and what team's going to be put out, rather than going into the game like confident because of how we've recently played, especially against Man City, which is a shame. And like Simon said, it just shows how quickly things can change. Because after the City game, everyone probably couldn't wait for that Thursday night to come to watch the game. So as long as we're still in it after Thursday night, that'll be fine. But it's big. But I think that Sunday's bigger.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Steve, Mikel Arteta want to win this. It's something that Pep Guardiola likes to win, to get that winning mentality, kickstart the season, push him on. Do you think he's trying to lay those foundations and take that blueprint over here?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen it, especially, since the start of the season, that the way he's setting up the side, the template, the blueprint, as you said there, it's morphing into Manchester City. It's even as much as not playing the false nine, which Lacazette has been playing. But the League Cup is another one. Man City want to win it. Pep wants to win everything, and I think Arteta will be the same. He'll want to go out there. He'll want to win it. What team would he play though? I don't know what team he will play to go out there. We'll see how much he wants to win it when we see the team selection. If I'm putting myself in Mikel Arteta's shoes, again, like Jerome says, the Spurs game is the bigger game for me. and it's the same prize at the end of the day. And to keep us in that top four, and that's where we've want to be for the last few seasons now. So part of me is thinking he may not play a full strength side because it's close together. Thursday to Sunday. Will he play? I think Leno are playing goal. I don't think you're going to see a full strength side. I don't think you'll see a full strength side from Liverpool either. Man City are a little bit of a different kettle of fish because we just know that Pep just puts out the strongest side in every single game, and part of me wishes that we would do that. But we spoke at the beginning that we still need 2 or 3 players to be able to do that. And but yeah, he'll want to win it. I want to win it. We'll want to win it. But as I say, as long as we're in the game by the end of the 90 minutes, then after seeing us perform against Man City, we can take Liverpool. We can beat Liverpool, especially if they haven't got a full squad.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Simon, how would you play this? You've got the Liverpool game on Thursday. You've got your full strength side of what we can put out, not including the AFCON, pick players at AFCON. And then you've got the Tottenham game Sunday. Are you putting out a weakened side against Liverpool in this first leg?
No, so let's say it was middle of October, Champions League, and we've got an away game that we had to get a point out of, or something like that, on the Wednesday, and we're playing on the Saturday. Well, this is no different, really, is it? So to me, certain players. So Gabriel comes back in. He'll have had 10, 11, 12 days off by then. So I think he starts. I think White starts. Although depending on who we've got in midfield, you might even see White move into midfield. I think Lacazette starts because he didn't start the weekend. So I think he starts again. So I think we pretty much. I think one of Smith Rowe or Xhaka hopefully will be back, so they go straight into the team. I envisage on paper, with regards to starting 11s, I think we have more people from our first starting 11 than Liverpool will have in the start of the game. Now, as I say, who they're bringing in, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of their fringe players and stuff like that. Obviously, they're not going to be playing Mane. They're not going to be playing Salah. They're not going to be playing Keita and people like that. So I think we start with a pretty. You just go game to game for me, Kieron. If we pick up an injury, we pick up an injury. But then Spurs are playing tomorrow night as well. Who's to say they won't get an injury or get someone sent off? So,
would you play Leno? Would you play that? I know he's going to play Leno, but would you play Leno?
Yeah. I think the game, even at Forest, the game changed with Leno. I mean, it's not a lot. He couldn't have done anything about the game, and he didn't really do anything wrong in the game. But the game is slower starting out from the back with him in it. So we do 100%. Lose something when he plays. I'm not knocking his saving ability, but the game changes. So, but it's a tough call, isn't it, to drop Leno and start with Ramsdale, but. That's what the manager's there for. That's his job, isn't it? To call. So Ramsdale gives us more options. Are you protecting a goalkeeper? Probably not, are you? You're not going to protect him. He's not going to get worn out playing a game. He might get injured, but you're not going to save him on the basis of he's played 2 games in a week.
Yeah.
So you're going full strength and you're going all guns blazing. You want the top 4 and you want this cup. No,
and because I'm going, I want to see a strong side.
100%. I asked you the same question, Jerome, because it was asked here. Would you really prefer top 4 over a cup win?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, especially the Carabao Cup. Absolutely, yeah. And going back to the team selection, if it was me, I'd just go as strong as possible for this, especially with these COVID tests, whereby you might think, I'm going to rest a player for this game,
that's a good point.
saving him for a game, and then he might end up getting a positive test result, and he missed the next game anyway. I think you just got to go strong. And with the goalkeeper, made a brilliant point about him being Leno being a bit slow with his distribution. I would go strong. I'd be ruthless. You playing your strongest team. For me, that includes the goalie. Ramsdale's the number 1. I'd play him. The only real the only real, I guess, maybe player that wouldn't be that would be playing that wouldn't normally be playing is maybe Lokonga for Partey. And other than that, it's you've pretty much got your full strength team. If Tomiyasu hopefully will be back as well at right back. So yeah, I'd go as strong as possible, and I don't think we're in the position now to start resting players.
And if we look back at earlier in the season, before Lokonga, as you do, you have a good start, and then it starts to wane a bit. He was having a good start to the season when he first came in. So let's hope he can get that form back, because he's still young. He's still got a lot of learning to do. Still got to be a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Less careless with the ball, because there's a lot of unforced errors he's got. But he's a definite talent. And I
might bring Emil Smith-Rowe in for Martinelli, possibly.
All right. So, Steve, first of all, you're going for top 4 over the cup?
Yeah, definitely. As again, like Jerome said, definitely over the League Cup. I mean, Arsenal is the Champions League, isn't it? We haven't been in it for so long now, and we're desperate, to be in it. We want to hear that music again, and all day long. I mean, it don't matter what cup it was. It wouldn't matter if it was the Europa League. Well, it would matter, I suppose. It was Europa League because you get Champions League football for it. But FA Cup would have been the same answer. I would have said, top 4 is more important. And what it is, especially when you've got especially
even though we're at the semi-final stage.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
half a season to go, isn't there? There's half a league season to go, so there's 50 points up for grabs. So losing to Spurs, if it should happen on Sunday, is not going to define our season, is it?
No, I mean, like if it was, I don't know. Did I get the? I was taking it as like just which one I would rather have.
Yeah.
And the one I would rather have is I'd rather finish in the top 4. If someone offered me the League Cup and being in Europe rather than and not the top 4 and beat Spurs, and then I wouldn't. I'd lose against Spurs if it meant I'd be finishing at the top 4. I'm sure
it's not as cut it's not as cut and dry as what you think, though, because I see a lot of people online that say, well, what? And this is the next question I'm asked: what's the point in being in the Champions League if you're not going to win it or if you're not going to compete? And the other one is, players don't remember at the end of the season, at the end of their careers, being in top 4. They look at a medal and they look back at the trophy cabinet. Well, I mean, they both make good points, but
I mean, the Champions League. I mean, let's face it, the chances of anybody winning it, apart from unless you're Real Madrid or Barca or one of the top Bayern Munich or PSG, the chance of you winning the Champions League is literally, for me, is a null. You might get a run in it, and if you're incredibly lucky, you might win it. But the chances of that are 10, 15%. So at the beginning of the season, for me, the Champions League is all about attracting the right players to go and win the league and to finish as high in the league as possible, and to give experience to our younger players and to have those great nights back again. Even if we don't, you say you go in it to win it, but I don't know, you finish quarter final and you end up valid if it comes to you because you're in the Champions League. That's what it's all about.
I think what I say to the argument about what's the point of being in Champions League if you're not going to win it, that argument is absolute nonsense. The reason why it is because very rarely do you get a team that goes into the Champions League and wins it straight away. The teams that win the Champions League are teams that do it season after season. They progress each year, and then you get to a stage where the play, the teams, the style of play you got to go, because you've got to play a different style of play as you do in the Premier League to what you do in the Champions League. So you know that style of play, and the quality of your team gets better from playing against better opposition. So you're not going in it straight away to win it straight away. You're going it to progress as a team and hopefully eventually get there. So yes, it's annoying seeing Arsenal get to that quarter-final stage, but we didn't invest more to go beyond that. We didn't put money into the club and put money into players to go beyond that quarterfinal stage. We had no right. When we got into the semi-finals and the finals, it's because we had the best players in Europe, the best players in the world. So there's a reason why we was there. And we didn't start off in the Champions League first season getting into whatever. We got our asses handed to us. Bayern Munich, Fiorentina against Batistuta. So it wasn't straight away that Arsenal ever got into the Champions League and done well. It was progression, year on year on year, being in that competition, and the team got better. And that's what we need to get back to, because you're just declining when you come out of that competition. You do. Your standards drop, everything drops. And we need to get back up there massively. Let's get on to some of the as we saw the other day. You said earlier, Steve, you don't feel like we need as much as what is thought. What would you say we need short term, and what would you say we need long term?
Short term, I would say we need midfielder. I'd say, and that would be, in my opinion, anyway. Everyone's got their own different opinions, but I think we need just a midfielder to sort of plug a gap. I don't necessarily really think we need to buy one. I think we've got Granit Xhaka, we've got Thomas Partey, we've got the Congo, who we know's, getting better and better. Yeah, I'm not taking the Forest game as anything. He's played well most of the time. And we've also got players like Odegaard who can drop in. So for the short term, I think midfielder. I don't put it this way. I don't think we need a midfielder in January, to go and actually buy one. Mm-hmm. I think we need get one to loan for 6 months on an obligation, and then see if we need him at the end of the season, or if someone more substantial comes around in the summer, because that's when the main players will come around. So I think it would be silly to go and buy a 45 million player midfielder in January, when you might get to the summer and you don't need him. And the Congo ends up coming to be good enough. Mm-hmm. And obviously we spoke about it, we know it's a striker, mate. We know it's a striker. And I mean, just quickly, as far as the midfielders go, Gini Wijnaldum's someone who's been linked. He has played the last 3 games for PSG, but he's a big Arsenal fan, and since he was a kid, and I know Arteta likes him, so he could easily fit in there nicely. There's been links to Arthur Miller, and that's not. There's nothing there really. There's nothing going there. Juventus are getting injuries, and what I'm hearing, they won't let him go. So yeah, striker and midfielder for me, mate. All
right. And long term, you think that's it as well?
Well, long term, yeah, long term. Long time, we may need a better right back. For maybe if we're going into the Champions League. Yeah, and then I think we've got good enough players. I don't think we need that much. Kulusevski we've been linked with, but he's out at the moment now because Chiesa has got injured and they play in the same position. So Kulusevski is going to go straight into Chiesa's position. Mm-hmm. So that's something that won't be happening now in January. And Wijnaldum, I've already said the Bruno Guimaraes one is a no. They want £45 million for him in January. It's not happening. Arsenal ain't paying £45 million in January. We all know who Arsenal want in January, and they're going way out to get him. Mm-hmm. And but Guimaraes is being linked to other places now. And then you've got the main guy who's the striker.
Yep. Dusan Vlahovic.
Yeah. Who's Dusan Vlahovic, who, we have to hold our hands up to the Cronkies because they're going all out to get him. Arteta says he wants him, and Fiorentina have agreed the fee. Vlahovic has agreed the personal fee. The only problem is that Wages has been. I just said that. No, wages has been confirmed. The agent is happy. Arsenal have offered 15 million to the agent. 300 grand a week has been spoken of Valivik.
Is that true? The wages, 300 grand a week.
It might take a little bit more getting into, but a player of his quality, it wouldn't surprise me. 300 grand. Aubameyang's on that. So if you're his agent, you're thinking, well, I want that. He's the next Haaland. He's the one down. For me. So he's going to want the best. The big wages. The agent wanted 15 million. That's been agreed. But the thing is it's all down to Dusan Vlahovic. It's all left down to him. And it's something that we're going to have to wait for. And but as I said, big up to Arsenal and the Cronkies. They're doing everything in their power, and it could happen in January.
All right, we will keep an eye on that. Simon, what do you think Arsenal need to make this team a Champions League squad, long term and short term, to get into the Champions League and then to really do something in the Champions League?
So anyone that's out on loan at the moment, I've bin them off. Yeah. So question mark still about Saliba. So I don't know with him because that's been going on now for 2 years. So we don't know, do we? Everyone's saying how marvellous he is. We've never seen him play, so still a question mark about him. Guendouzi, Torreira, the Greek lad, get rid of all of them. So for me, Leno's probably going to go in the summer. I'd like him to stay. I think he'd be a great number 2 keeper. But here we are again with the Martinez, Leno debacle. You're never going to get a keeper that good who's going to be your backup because he wants to play. So I think we need, let's assume Leno goes, we need another goalkeeper. We're going to need another centre-back. Yeah, and we're assuming that maybe Chambers is going, the Greek lad's going to go. But we're going to need another centre-back. We'll definitely need another right-back. And then for me, we need at least, let's assume Lacazette goes and Nketiah goes and Aubameyang goes. So even if you sign this Vlahovic, we'll need at least one more striker to bring in, and another midfield player. So you could be looking at as many as 5 or 6 players needed for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Jerome, we've seen the golfing class between the youth. Everyone, a lot of people bigging up Charlie Bettino. I mean, I took one look at him and thought a strong gust of wind will blow him out of the stadium. So that was always a worry for me, especially when you play men's football. It's a big difference when you play under 23s to when you play men's football. So and you look at the size for him, he's going to have to be a serious player if he's going to be jinking in around players. You've seen the golfing class. You've seen again what Balogun does at under 23s to what he does to what we've potentially seen in the first team. They look like they're going to probably need another season, a full season on loan. What do you bring in short term and long term for this team to not only get in the Champions League, but to have a good first season in that Champions League?
God, I think the next 3 games we definitely need a midfielder, but you can't really bring in a midfielder for 3 games, can you?
No.
Well, look, El Nene obviously is away at the moment, but I can't. I'm sure they'll get rid of him in the summer. We need at least one central midfielder, possibly 2, to be honest. This boy said at least another centre back, someone to be covered for Tomiyasu, and at least a couple of strikers, at least, and possibly another winger as well, depending on what happens with Pepe, our mate Pepe. So,
what kind of central midfield do you think Arsenal need to bring
in? Good question.
A spoiler is what I'd want.
Like a Basuma.
Yeah.
Someone like that.
Yeah.
You're not a fan, Steve?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't know. There's something, we all got. It's just opinion, isn't it? I mean, I'm probably wrong. It's just an opinion, and he's a bit of a pain in the arse behind the scenes. I keep hearing, and And to be honest, someone said to me the other day, "You don't see him linked with many people, do you?" And I was like, "No, true." And Potter don't think he's going. And Potter don't think he's going nowhere. And then he come out and said, "No, he's not going nowhere. He's staying here." So, if you thought if like Liverpool and Man City or an Arsenal coming, you thought you'd be gone, wouldn't you? From Brighton. So I just don't think Arsenal.
I think it's more the price tag that people are going to. They know they're going to have to pay 50, 60 mil for him.
He ain't worth that.
That's what I was about to say. He's not a 50, 60 mil player, but Brighton aren't going to let go of any of their players, are they? They don't want to sell them. So they got to pay over the odds. It's what we've had to pay for Ben White. Now it seems like it's coming to fruition that's actually a half decent price tag. However, we had to pay over the odds to get Ben White because they didn't want to sell. And I think that's how Brighton are going to play it.
I think what you've got to think as well is that, to bring someone in, if our midfield is Partey and Xhaka, and that's our main starting two midfield, you've got to bring someone in who's willing to sit on the bench and bide his time, which is difficult.
Yeah, definitely. But what sort of a central midfielder would you bring in if you was to bring one in?
Yeah, I agree with Simon. I think, if anything, we can. Emil Smith-Rowe can play in that middle. Odegaard's can play in there. Patino, he'll only get better. And if I've not heard that Elneny's leaving, and Lokonga does need more time to come, to learn his game, then you will need a spoiler. And that's why, and to me, Janidi Wijnaldum would be the perfect fit. But he's going to want to play. So,
Well, Maitland-Niles is not coming back, is he? I don't think we're ever going to see him again in an Arsenal shirt. We're not going to see Guendouzi. We're not going to see Torreira. And there's a big possibility we're not going to see Elneny. So there's 4 midfielders that are on our books that are probably not going to be on our books come September next year. So if you get rid of 4, surely we've got to get 2 in.
John McGinn?
He would start.
You're not feeling John McGinn? Not a fan, Simon?
No, I like it. Oh, sorry.
I think we've got to aim higher than that.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, but you got again. You must think players are going to want to come in. Who's going to want to start? You got to sell them the club where if Xhaka and Partey are the starting 2, they've got to be a squad player, a really, really good squad player. You need someone with it.
How many times this season have Xhaka and Partey started because of injuries? So you got to look at that as well, haven't you?
Yeah, you still got to convince the player to come, haven't you?
No, but before the City game, Partey was getting slated, wasn't he? And people wanted him sort of dropped because he'd been poor. But then he turns in a worldy performance against City. So it's a fickle game that you're only as good as the last game you played. And it is the more successful you are, the more games there are, so that the more rotation that you need anyway.
It's just difficult. If you want to play, I mean, you want? You want someone with the attitude of Emil Smith-Rowe, who's absolute quality, who don't mind sitting on the bench and will come on when he's needed. That's what you've got to go and
players come through the ranks, though. That's going to be very hard. But look, we've seen the likes of Liverpool do it a different way. They bring in unknown players and build them up, send them out on loan, then drag them back in. They also managed to fit in a Diego Jota in a team in a front 3, which you didn't think there was any room for manoeuvring that. And he's their second top goal scorer in the Premier League. So there is ways of doing it. Man City managed to do it. Money and the fact that players know they're going to win something. So maybe that's what Arsenal got to do. Not necessarily the money side, but they're bringing them knowing full well it's going to be competition. You got to fight for your place. If you play and you keep your shirt, those things I think will entice players in. Players want competition. I think we've had it too long where we've been a bit too nice with that, and it's time to be a bit more ruthless. Before we go, I want to ask you about Sunday. First, Simon, did you think that Tottenham would be more of a force under Conte? Did you think that at this stage now they'd be a bit higher up in the league, be playing a bit of football? And did you think that Levy would actually back him in the transfer market?
To be fair to Conte, I don't really think he's had that long there, has it, to change too much? Because it's still the players that were there, and I don't think the players that were there were good enough anyway. So he's clearly identified where he wants to strengthen and who he wants to get rid of. But that's not going to, you can't really expect him in. How long's he been there? 2 months.
Yeah. Well, Rangnick's been at Man United for 4 weeks, and they're calling for his head.
Yeah, I mean, I think Man United are in more strife than Spurs, simply due to the amount of money that they've spent on that team there. And from what I've seen of Man United, I mean, how did we lose that game? Because that team is in the way. So I think Spurs are going to challenge, but no more so than what we are, I don't think. But Spurs, I don't see Spurs finishing top 4, I'll be honest with you.
Who do you see that our biggest challenge? West Ham, Man United, Tottenham?
I think West Ham have got a very, very... They may have had their little poor period, but I think West Ham are going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. I don't see Man United getting top 4. Not the way... I think Man United would be lucky to get top 8 the way they're playing at the moment. There's multiple problems.
It seems like Leicester are going to take them over again.
Yeah. But I just... They're all over the place. Over the place, absolutely. They can't get out their own half, but in home games. So who knows what's going to happen? Leicester have turned a corner. I think they're on the up again. But a lot of the games against your direct opposition are going to play a big factor in who comes out 4th, 5th, 6th at the end of the season. And as I said before, once these European games, don't forget West Ham are playing in the Europa League. Yeah, once that starts up again, there's more games there for a squad that may be getting tired, a few more injuries, blah blah blah. We haven't got that, have we? And it's disappointing we haven't got that because we're not going to have games. But to me, as I said it earlier in the show, we've got 10 days here. 8 days. We've got to get through these 8 days. Get the 2 Liverpool games out of the way. And then once those 2 Liverpool games are out of the way, you know exactly when every fixture is going to be between now and the end of the season. There's no extra games coming in. There'll be one final or not, whatever the case may be, and just league games. And we can plan for that. And once we get our players back, you saw against City, we can beat anybody.
Are you feeling confident of that top 4 spot?
Yeah, why not? We're 4th now. So it's destiny's in our own hands now, isn't it?
Very, very true. Jerome, who do you think Arsenal's biggest rivals are for that 4th spot? Who do you think their biggest rivals are for that 4th spot?
You know what? It's so close. It's too close to call even. You've got 4 teams there. That, like I said, I think previously, it's our little mini league of us, United, Spurs, and West Ham. And I think Spurs at the moment,
Spurs' fixtures, they're rough.
Spurs are 2 points behind us with 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
It's going to go all the way to the end, and all these teams, it's possible for all of them to finish top 4. We just got to make sure that we stay in the race and keep our first 11 as fit, or as close to our first 11 as fit as possible. That's why this game against Spurs is so important, because you don't want to be in a position where you're, a couple, 2 or 3 games behind them in terms of points. So who's our biggest rival? I can't give one team. I think they're all so close to us. It's hard to really pick one out. And West Ham, everyone thinks West Ham will fall away, but this is going to be like, when Leicester won the league, everyone kept saying, "Oh, they'll fall away soon." They've had loads of games in Europe. They've done all right so far dealing with them all, and they've played pretty much their strongest team in all these European games. They're not resting players for them.
I think they had their blip when they weren't playing in Europe as well.
They had their blip when they didn't score a goal for half an hour or so. Now that was their blip. They've done so well. It's too close to call, to be honest, of all these teams.
Mm-hmm. How big of a season would it be if Arsenal got top 4?
Oh, it'd be amazing. No pundits, probably no Arsenal fans really would have expected it if it does happen. No one was calling Arsenal to finish top 4.
No.
People would probably been over the moon with a Europa League finish. And like you were saying before about what good is it being in the Champions League if you're not going to win it? Well, that helps you to attract better players, and then you improve from there, don't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of probably the reasons why some of these deals maybe drag on a bit, because the players they want to play in the Champions League, don't they?
Of course they do. Of course they do. Of course they do.
So that's another reason why we need to be aiming for that competition.
Just a second, Steve. I'll come to you now. Before we go on, please press that like and subscribe button. Plenty of people in the chat. Plenty of people watching on Twitter and on live on YouTube as well. So please smash that subscribe if you are new to the channel, and smash that like. Steve, same question. Who's Arsenal's biggest rivals for that top 4 spot? And then I'll ask you afterwards.
I just love being in the conversation, lads. Isn't it great to be in the conversation again?
We weren't at all. We weren't even in that conversation. People would have laughed at us if we would have said anything about, could we get top 4 this season? They would have laughed at us.
Yeah, I mean it's January the 11th, and we're saying who's our rivals for top 4. I mean, the
thing is, we haven't really spoken about it too much because it was like this little gap, and we didn't want to say anything about it. And then, like at Christmas, it's like we're still here. Like, it does. It feels good.
I don't think people realise how big the I mean, fourth place was always a massive, thing to do. Anyway, because there's all over the last 10, 12 years. There's always been 6, 7 teams that can make the top 4, and but yeah, it's just great to be in the conversation. But as far as who's our biggest rivals, I think Spurs are, and the reason why I think that is probably just one thing, and that's Antonio Conte, because he's a winner.
Do you think that Levy's going to back him in the transfer window? And if he doesn't, do you think that they will fall off?
Yeah, I think they will back him, because I don't think Conte would have come to the club if he was told that he wasn't going to get backed in January.
Yeah,
there's plenty of talk about what's going to happen with Tottenham in January, but yeah, I think Tottenham. West Ham, I just, I would love them to finish 3rd and Arsenal 4th, but I do think that they may just fall out of it at the end. I think they're a cert for Europe. Manchester United, for me, they just keep getting the wrong manager time and time again, and they've done it again. And and looking at the faces on Man United players over the last few weeks, I don't think they bothered if they get top 4 or not. It looks like that. They look absolutely,
God, how big of a season would it be if Arsenal was to get that top 4 spot?
Oh, mate, it's massive. It's massive. All Arteta's been at the club for what? Is this his 3rd season now? Is it?
Yeah, this will be his first.
He's won the FA Cup in his 1st season with an absolute awful side, and with not even his side. In the second, he's built. He started building his team, and the 3rd season is challenging. And yeah, I mean, it'd be an absolute, something that I never expected. I would have been happy with the, European Conference place at the beginning of the season. I just wanted to get back into Europe again. It was that bad, because no one could have said that we'd finish 4th. So that just tells you what a great job he's done. Incredible job.
It is. Yeah, I mean, that is all we have time for. It's just getting to the hour. It's getting to the hour mark, and we've got to the hour mark. Thank you, everyone who's joined us in the chat so far. Absolutely buzzing the chat tonight. Glenn Ten's in there, Garth's in there, Calesto, good to see you again. Johnny's in there, good to see you. Mihal's back, good to see you, Mihal. I've not seen you in a while. Who else we got in there? That is it. Thank you for joining us tonight, Simon.
Always a pleasure. Good.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for joining us, Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you for joining us as well, Steve.
Cheers, mate. Pleasure.
All right, we've got a big game Thursday. Win. Give us your score prediction before we go. Steve, score prediction.
It's away, isn't it? The first game, it was at home, but now they're playing it away. It's away, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we get a draw. I think we'll come back with a 1-1.
All right, Simon,
with
score prediction.
Pepe doing an overhead
I'm going
kick.
for Simon now because I know that Jerome is going to think so hard about this. The show could be end before he gives us the answer.
I'm going for COVID abandonment on Thursday. Other than that, I'm going 1-1.
1-1. All right, Jerome, what are you going for?
It depends if Rick parries on the VAR. I reckon I'll go. I go 2-2. That'll be my prediction. 2-2. Also played for at the Emirates. Yeah.
2-2.
Yeah. Oh, we should have had a penalty against Forest actually. If there was VAR, that was a bang-on penalty. Disgrace.
What was that? I'm trying to think. What
was that? Was it handball? The handball was it? Was it handball?
Oh no, it was on Ben White, weren't it? It was Ben White where he tugged his shirt.
Oh yeah, that as well. Yeah, that.
All right.
It's gone. We've got to move on.
All right, Callisto's gone for a 2-1 win, and Garth has gone for a. I'm going to ignore that one because you can't be. You're a Man United fan. You can't be talking about Liverpool winning like that. Absolute nonsense. All right. Thank you, everyone who's joined us in the comment section. Thank you, everyone who's joined us live. Who hasn't joined in the comment section, don't be scared. Come over. All right. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and press that share. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Peace out. Stay safe, and wash your hands.